you took over performing for Kermit. And I guess can you share what how you heard that you were even going to be considered for an audition?
Sure. So, Steve Whitmire and the Muppet Studio, they parted ways. And that left the role of Kermit and not only Kermit, but several other characters that Steve either originated or he took on without a performer. And obviously Kermit is that key character and a big character to fill. And there was an audition process that I was a part of that was overseen by the Muppet Studio and by Brian Henson from the Jim Henson Company. And those auditions, I don't know how many people, 20 people maybe. Those auditions led to callbacks, and those callbacks led to a series of workshops with Brian in LA. And at that point, there were 4 performers that were working on the directive of making their version of Kermit to push more toward Jim Henson's version of the character. That was the goal. And at the end of the workshop, I was chosen by the Muppet Studio to be Kermit. It's not just a character that was just given to me or grandfathered to me like other characters. There was an actual legitimate process where, it was whittled down, and there were 4 really great guys, and I drew the lucky straw, And I realized that there's a whole generation of people whose Kermit is Steve Whitmire. And I get it, and that is okay. I do not hold anything against them. But my job is to do the best that I can do with my version of Jim Henson's version of Kermit the Frog, and that was the directive, and that's what I'm, doing and trying to do and still working on, and, just like I'd say I'm still working on Big Bird. I've been doing that for 20-some years. It's a process, and it's, my Kermit was Jim. My Big Bird was Carol. My Count was Jerry. And now there's a whole generation of kids whose Count is actually me. Just like so many see Eric Jacobson as their Grover or their Miss Piggy now. And soon my Big Bird and my Kermit will be that version that people know. But each of these incarnations, or any incarnation of a character that's carried on by another performer, they're all authentic.
Oh, absolutely.
Each one is unique to that particular performer, whoever it is, while still aiming. We all have that same goal of aiming to be true to the original performance, the performance that we all grew up with, probably. So that's pretty much what I have to say, I think, about Kermit. He's, like I said, that was my Kermit, and and that's what I try to hear in my head. I try to hear the music of Jim's voice in my head, and it's a challenge for sure. Just as any character is. But it's been such a fun ride, and it's not something that I take lightly. I don't take the responsibility lightly, but I also don't think about that responsibility when I'm in it and when I've got my arm up in the air with a frog on my hand.
Oh, you can't.
That, right. I'm thinking about what's the objective of this scene. What do I need to do here? How am I going to get RuPaul to answer this question?
That was one of my favorites.
That was so good.
I'm a humongous RuPaul's Drag Race fan. So when I saw it was one of my favorite sketches.